So the SEC is trying to pull a late move in which they're trying to get access to some recordings that Ripple has between its employees in different staff meetings. They're doing this at a very late time in this case, at a very late time in the discovery process of this case. I'm going to talk about what they're actually going after and how Ripple's playing hardball once again. But they're basically just pulling the same card that the SEC's been pulling. I'm going to talk about what's going on in this video, but today is a very big day. If you're watching this video on the 31st, the SEC and Ripple and Judge Netburn are having a phone conference in which they're going to discuss the privilege disputes going on of the SEC not turning over documents because they say they're privileged. So I'm going to have that call-in information in the description below. You can actually call in and listen to this hearing. Now, if it's like all the other hearings, there's going to be about 4,000 seats allowed. So go ahead and try to call in. I'm definitely going to be following a few people that typically tweet out what's going on. But I'll also put a link to my Twitter account in the description below. You can follow me there, and I'll be tweeting it out as I get the information. In other crypto news, Bitcoin just pulled back a little bit, about 2,000. And I just checked at what Solana's doing, because anytime Bitcoin has had a little bit of a pullback, Solana's done something interesting. And it's doing it again. I'm going to tell you about it. And Plan B on Twitter, who is famous for applying the stock-to-flow model to the Bitcoin price action, just tweeted out yesterday his model, the stock-to-flow model, versus a new time model that's been implemented. I'm going to show you what those models are actually projecting and what's coming up for Christmas time. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also hit that bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. There's a lot of news coming up, so I'm going to be releasing those videos. And I feel that people in the crypto space are the most generous people on the planet. So if you're feeling generous today, I'd really appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, watch this video all the way to the end. And number two, smash that thumbs up button. Those are really the two best things that you can do when supporting a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, well, let's jump into it. So first, taking a look at the Bitcoin price action, it has dropped to about 47,000. It was actually 46 and change for a little bit before coming back up. It dropped to 47,000 from 49,000. It's been bumping up against that $50,000 price point for some time now. It's really in consolidation. Willy Woo, who is one of the most followed Bitcoin price predictors and technical analysts out there, has basically been saying that there are some big bullish signals that Bitcoin is flashing right now that primarily has to do with the on-chain data. And what he's talking about is consolidation rates. It's consolidation rates meaning the people that hold Bitcoin and what their buying rates are and how long they're holding Bitcoin. And what it's been flashing recently is that rate is actually going to be coming to a peak in about 2 to 4 weeks, according to Willy Woo, at some point next month. And typically when that happens, it's about a 5-month time frame from when Bitcoin consolidation buyers buy until they actually sell. So he's looking at a several month time period from the end of next month that Bitcoin is going to be flashing very bullish signals. This is actually what's going to essentially cause that Bitcoin supply issue, where if you want to buy Bitcoin, there's just not going to be as much of it for sale. Typically that means the price goes up. And there's been several people that have been saying institutional buyers have not yet jumped in on the FOMO action on the price of Bitcoin. Some are speculating that institutional buyers won't even jump back into Bitcoin until that price is nearing $100,000. Now, Plan B, of course, put the stock-to-flow model on Bitcoin, and he believes that by the end of the year, or by the end of this market cycle, whenever that ends, that the top is going to be somewhere well over $100,000. At least that's what his model shows. Now, he implemented a new time model where someone basically came up, it looked like more of an average than have it being adjusted for the halving events. And this is suggesting about a $30,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, suggesting that Bitcoin is way overvalued at this point, and it's really not going to reach $100,000 until about 2025. He basically implemented that into his model to show the differences and to provide some discussion. And while Bitcoin has been pulling back from 49,000 to 47,000, I took a look at Solana. Why? Because, well, it's 6x'd in the last 5 weeks, and as somebody pointed out, it's actually 230x'd in the last 9 months. So if you put $1,000 into Solana 9 months ago, be worth approximately $230,000. So right now, as Bitcoin's having a pullback, Solana didn't care. It is totally decoupled from Bitcoin at this point. It is on its own surge, and it's running on its own, not necessarily on Bitcoin news, not even on Ethereum news, because Ethereum bumped up a little bit as well. So right now, it's kind of a battle with Ethereum and Cardano both pulling in big numbers, probably from some of the other altcoins that were expected to go and have bigger price movements, but really haven't. So let me know in the comments section down below if you're looking at Solana or if you feel like you might have missed that train. Because some of the speculation is that by the end of this market cycle, Solana could be $200, $300, $400, even $500. All right, so now let's talk about the Ripple and ASEC case. Today, they're having that big telephonic conference. Telephonic, it's over telephone. I don't know why they call it telephonic conference. Basically to discuss their privilege disputes. Ripple says the SEC needs to provide documents and all the stuff that they talked about. The judge said twice, yep, SEC, you need to turn it over. They refused because they say it's privileged. Only they can say it. So they're having a conference call today because none of them can agree on anything. So the judge hopefully will weigh in, and in my opinion, she's going to side with Ripple for the third time. But what's the SEC going to do? Honestly, I have no idea. They haven't listened to the judge yet. So I have the details down below for that phone call. You can check it out if you're really interested in dialing in. And next, I want to talk about something that the SEC just did just a little while ago, that they're now seeking a motion for the judge to compel Ripple to produce some recordings that they have of staff meetings. Now, some of the comments in Twitter have been saying that this is just the SEC grasping at straws. They have no idea even what they're looking for. All they know is that there's some more documentation that they haven't poured over yet. Maybe they can find something there. In this document, they said they're actually looking to see what Ripple's mindset was at the time. Now, they also claim that in January of 2021, earlier in this year, that they asked Ripple to produce the recordings then. Of course, it didn't explicitly mention specific types of recordings. It basically just said recordings because they labeled it a recording as a type of document when they were requesting documents from Ripple back in January. Well, they recently heard from a deposition from a former Ripple employee earlier this month that there was indeed recordings of staff meetings. So they were trying to get these recordings and dealing with Ripple's attorneys. And Ripple fired back and said, you can have these recordings, but only if you agree not to go after any other recordings or documents that you might learn about in the future. What's going to be in the future? The deposition of Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. So the SEC said, no, you can't play that game. That's our game. Only we can deny you documents based on privilege. So Ripple said, fine, take it to the judge and see what she thinks. So that's exactly what they're trying to do. The SEC wrote the letter to try and compel the judge to tell Ripple that they got to turn over these documents. So more than likely, I'm going to predict right now that at some point in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to have another telephonic conference to talk about these new recordings and if the SEC should actually have access to them. Of course, if you watched my video from earlier, this might not matter depending on what the judge does in this telephonic conference on the 31st. Today. But regardless, there is going to be big news that comes out, whether it's good for Ripple, bad for Ripple, or anything in between. So you're going to want to do a couple of things. Number one, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because as soon as I hear about these details, I'm definitely going to be making a video about it. But the other thing is you can actually go follow me on Twitter. I'm actually going to be tweeting out and following anybody that is going to be on this phone call, because there are several people that try to attend most of these phone calls, and they do a really good job of keeping people up to date on Twitter. And in my last few videos, I've talked about being close to 60,000 subscribers. And earlier this morning, I just passed 60,000 subscribers. So I just want to say a big thank you to all my current subscribers, to all the new subscribers of the Late Night Grind. Comment down below how long you've been watching these videos, because I'd really be curious to see how long some of you have been watching for. And finally, before I leave, I just wanted to point out something I actually had written in my notes that I forgot to mention. When I was looking at Solana, and someone pointed out that Solana has done a 230x in the last 9 months, somebody else also followed that up with, imagine what XRP is going to do at the end of this SEC case once they win. Is it going to take 9 months to 230x? That would put Ripple, right about $245, $47, something like that. I'd be okay with a price like that, but in any case, let me know if you think a price like that is doable over the next year, especially Bitcoin's gonna have an elongated market cycle and not having that top until Q1 of 2022. All right, guys, if you are seeing two videos, one right here and one right here, means YouTube thinks that one of these two videos is right up your alley. So go ahead and click on those videos and check them out. Once again, thanks for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.